Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by my channel. My name is Kadeem for those of you who don't know, and my whole goal is really to share financial education, financial knowledge with people like you. I find that in Canada, there's not a lot of people doing that, and that's where I come in. So if you find this information valuable, you find it beneficial, I ask you to like, subscribe, and share this content with someone who you may think may find it beneficial as well. All right? That'll help to make this common knowledge and push this information before more people. So again, I thank you for stopping by. Let's go ahead and get into the content. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Tuesday Tips. Kadeem here. I just want to share some thoughts with you today. Some thoughts about investments, protection, debt management, and emergency funds. Because I find it kind of crazy that, especially my generation, we're typically going after investments, right? Investments is the thing to go after. It's the thing you want. And so we end up going after the investments, even though other things might not be in place yet. See, there's something called the financial foundation. And just like a house, right? If you build a house on sand, what's going to happen to it? It's going to come tumbling down, right? California has landslides or mudslides, whatever you want to call it, because some of the houses aren't built properly there. They're not built all the way down onto bedrock. They didn't go far down enough. So the foundation needs to be built structurally and properly so that it can sustain. And investments, it's not the foundation. Investments are not the foundation. People get it confused. Investments is the top layer. But if you go after the top layer and you get investments, but you don't worry about the middle or the foundation itself, then what's gonna happen to your foundation, what's gonna happen to your investments when something happens to you? Let me make it a little more clear. This has happened to a lot of people and a lot of celebrities even over time. A few years ago, I don't know how many years ago, I don't remember exactly, but Prince passed away. I think his assets, his whole estate, right? Everything he owned, his businesses, everything was worth $200 million. I'm trying to call back facts I read a while ago, so forgive me if I'm incorrect, but $200 million, that's his estate. And I believe he had 5 siblings, and his family was gonna get nothing out of it. His family had to fight. His 5 siblings had to fight and fight and fight to get money from out of the estate, to get $2 million amongst the 5 of them. That's the last thing I remember hearing, is they were gonna get $2 million between the 5 of them out of the $200 million estate. Why? Because unfortunately, Prince didn't plan things correctly. I don't believe in life insurance, right? And just all these other things. Here, let me give you a tip. The great thing is you don't have to believe in life insurance. It's not a religion. You don't have to believe in it. You just have to understand that it's a tool, and depending on your situation, the tool can be manipulated to work for you in your situation. But again, let's not even go to the foundation, which is protection, which is life insurance. Let's even look at debt management. How do we have $20,000, $10,000, $15,000 in investments that are growing at maybe, let's say 5%, 6%, but then we have our debt, which is $5,000, $10,000, and it's growing at 19% credit card debt. There's an issue there because you're not making more than what you're putting out. One strategy could be, I'm not recommending, I'm just saying one strategy could be to take some of that money you have in the investment and just pay off the credit card, because you're paying more in interest anyway, instead of focusing again on that top layer, the thing that looks cute, which is the investment. Because that's not the foundation, that's not even the middle ground, that's the top, right? Let's call that the roof. But the roof is the last thing to go on a house, really. Right? For anyone who's in construction, don't quote me on that, but it's the top of the house. You need to build from the ground up. You can't build the house from the top down. It's built from the ground up. So there was protection, there was debt management. Let's talk about that emergency fund. You are investing and locking your money away, but you don't even have an emergency fund where if something were to happen, God forbid, you get into a car accident, you need to replace the car, whatever it is, right? You don't have an emergency fund set up to where you can just take out whatever you need and go and cover that expense, but you have money in investments that you can't necessarily quickly turn around. That doesn't make sense. because you're not preparing for these situations that happen honestly every day. You break your phone, let's say you need your phone for work or whatever the case is. What are you going to do now? All these situations I'm talking about, they come back to debt, because if you don't have it, guess what you're going to do? You're going to take that credit card, you're going to go swipe. You're going to go just swipe, just rack up the debt, which makes no sense. But you might still have some money in investments, so you think you're okay. But in reality, you're not really okay, because these first 3 layers were not taken care of. The protection, you need to make sure you take care of those things. The protection, the debt management, the emergency funds. Those things, in terms of this financial foundation, should come before investments. Because again, let's say you have family, you have loved ones, people you care about. If you have all of your money in investments, let's look at the Prince example, $200 million, but you don't put things in place to protect yourself, your family, your loved ones, that your family won't even see half, not even a quarter of that, because you didn't plan things properly, because you didn't believe in this thing called insurance. And I'm going to say it again, you don't have to believe in it. It is not a religion. So I just want people to start thinking a little bit differently, or just to give them different perspectives, right? Like I said, I'm just sharing some thoughts with you today, and hopefully it's helpful for somebody at the end of the day. And one quick tip I also want to give you is Christmas is around the corner for anybody who celebrates. One big portion, arguably, whether you agree with it or not, of Christmas is gift giving gifts, right? Buying gifts for loved ones and giving them gifts, wrapping it up, a whole 9 yards. I want to ask you, and I want you to think for yourself, how much are you about to spend on Christmas? How much money is going to come out of your pocket for Christmas? And the reason I ask you is because I think, and I would assume rather, the majority of people do not plan necessarily to spend money for Christmas. They know they're going to, but they don't put a plan in place so that when Christmas comes around, they have the money to spend. Instead, what do? They might swipe their credit card again. They might put some debt. They might put themselves in debt to be able to buy gifts just because it's a part of Christmas. However, if you spend, let's say $500 on Christmas, what if instead of putting yourself $500 in debt or having to take from places you didn't plan to use for gifts, what if instead you took that $500, let's say the top of the year or in the new year, and you divided it by 11. Now you know you only have to put away $45, let's call it $46 a month for those 11 months, so that when Christmas comes around, you have that $500 to spend. Just reverse engineer. It's very simple. How many of us will do it? That's another question. So that's just a little Christmas tip for you. Again, hopefully this information was helpful for somebody. Sharing some thoughts, trying to change your perspective and get you to think a little bit differently. Everybody, Kadeem here. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed.